Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we are going to be doing an overview of PublisherRocket. Now, PublisherRocket is a tool designed to help self-published and small press authors define which keywords they should put on their books as part of the publication and marketing process, as well as what categories they could list their books in when they're setting it up for publication. And it gives them the ability to analyze their competition and their positioning with Amazon ads. And while PublisherRocket is using Amazon data for its information here, I have also used the keyword research I found and category information here to help me decide what to do for my Draft to Digital account as well. For those who don't know me, my name is Katherine. I'm a USA Today bestselling dark fantasy author. I've been using PublisherRocket since 2020, and I am sponsored by them for this video or endorsed by them, but the links in the description box are affiliate links. So if you do decide to sign up, I may receive compensation from them in exchange. With that being said, let's dive into PublisherRocket. Today will be the first of 3 videos. We'll be back in depth to talk more about each of these main features in the next couple weeks. So overall, as I said, PublisherRocket is here to help you position your book from a marketing perspective so that when readers are on Amazon, when they're on Draft to Digital, when they're on whatever retailer they're on, and they are searching for a book to read, they can easily find it and find yours as a highly recommended or highly placed one that's one of the first ones they see based on the information you've gotten from here, and put in what we call your metadata, the data that's behind the scenes. And I'll show that metadata next week in the keyword walkthrough. So let's start with keywords, just because this is probably the most commonly discussed one. A keyword is a search phrase or term or a few words that readers are going to type in when they want a book, right? And they can search for physical books, Kindle books, or Audible books. We're going to do Kindle today because the majority of self-published authors have ebooks, and then you can change these if you want to see what it would be for print as well. So one example would be if I want to see a fantasy book for adults with dragons. I'm going to search here. And you can see it's going to give me a few different options, things that people are searching for in this genre, right? Fantasy book for adult with dragons, dragon fantasy books for adults, fantasy dragon romance books, yada yada. And I'm just going to hit this little magnifying glass here, and then I'm going to walk you through what these terms at the top of this page mean so that you can get a feel for the system a little bit. Okay. So the keyword itself is what the reader would be typing into the search box. Then you have the average number of pages that books that have chosen this keyword already and are published with this keyword already would be. So 924 pages average for dragon fantasy books for adults, 912 for fantasy book for adults with dragons. There's less than 1,000 competitors with these keywords as one of their chosen keywords. You can only have 7 keywords. We'll discuss that in detail in the keyword episode, so I won't spend too much time on it here. But less than 1,000 people have decided to give up one of those 7 spots for this specific search term. You have the average price that those books are being sold for, which is $4 a book. And then you have the average monthly earnings that the top sellers in those categories for those keywords are making. And then the most important one is how many people are searching on Amazon for that keyword. So every month there are 1,117 people right now looking for dragon fantasy books for adults, but only 555 people looking for a fantasy book for adults with dragons. Less than 1,000 competitors in each one. And then the competitive score here takes a compilation of this data that you see right here and says, if you listed your book with this as one of your 7 keywords, this is how competitive it would be. It would be moderately competitive. your chances of being one of the first books that show when someone searches for that term is in the middle. Versus this one up here is going to be very competitive. It means you have a lot of competitors, a lot of very few searches. It's going to be really hard for you to be one of the first books they see. And so every little keyword, every slight change is going to affect that. And so you can play around with the wording and decide what fits your book and who would buy your book. And again, we'll get down into what kind of keywords you should be looking for and tips and things about that next week. But you can just click new search in here and you can search for any number of things. So you could say dragon books without romance and search for that and say, oh, well, what does that look like? 818 people are searching for that, and there's only 149 competitors. The average sales are low. The average price per book is $5, but the average pages is 416. So you can then say, well, which does my book fit better, right? Does my book fit better here with 924 page books that they're getting for the same price as over here, the 416? And you can make decisions that way. And of course, you don't have to stick with the same 7 keywords. So every quarter, which is every 3 or 4 months, I come through and update my keywords. I research how my current ones are doing, and then I change them to ones that are doing better. So let's go back out to the home page here. Beyond keywords, we're going to do category search next, since this is the second most common that I see being used in my circle. If you do not know what category to list your book in on Amazon, because they are more restricted than other platforms like Drafted Digital, I recommend starting here. So you're going to start typing what you think your book could be under. So dragons is going to fall under either children's ebooks under fiction, or it's going to fall under science fiction, fantasy, dragons and mythological creatures if it's for adults. You can decide which of these best suits your needs. Now, Amazon and most retailers are very strict about making sure that you put your books in categories that are relevant to them. So in order to keep from being flagged, don't throw your dragon book into a category about pirates if there are no pirates in your dragon book, just because you see that it'd be quicker to get to a high sales spot if you published it as a pirate book, because that's misleading. People are going to search for a book. There's nothing like searching for dragon books and then getting a pirate book, and that's not what you wanted, right? So in the category search section, you have how many sales you need to make. By the way, you can hover over any of these orange question marks and it'll tell you how many sales you need every day to hit the #1 bestseller spot in that category. Because on Amazon, categories get bestseller spots, and then the broad genre gets the bestseller spot as well. So you'd have to make 29 sales a day to stay in the #1 spot for children's ebooks, fantasy, or fairy tale, folk tales, and myths and dragons, right? Then you have how many sales a day you would need to hit the top 10, 11, 7, and 80 in these 3. Which percentage of this is dominated by trad big presses, traditionally published big presses? 83% of your competition for children's is going to be trad presses, but only 20% of your competition are big presses, i.e. big money, for adult fantasy. Then you have KU, and it's not surprising at all that a big press is going to have a lot less in KU most of the time, although there are cases where that isn't true, and we'll show some of that in 2 weeks. But Kindle Unlimited is the restricted license Kindle Select program. It means that a reader who has a subscription to Kindle Unlimited can download and read your book for free. Only 14% of the books in the top 1 are on KU. And the reason I'm not surprised by a big press is because a big press isn't going to want to only sell the ebook on Amazon. If they've put in the money to develop it, they're going to want to sell it on Barnes & Noble and Apple and Google Play, right? want to get as much money as they can. Self-published authors, on the other hand, love being able to give readers the option to read as many of their books as they can with a single subscription. So it is not uncommon to see a very high number of KU books for book industries that are also high in self-published authors. There's 80% are self-pubbed or small presses, 76% are also on KU. That matches up. All right. Moving on from there, we have our competition analyzer. Competition analyzer is going to show you who your competitors are if you type in a specific phrase or keyword again, right? So if I said dragon books without romance, again here, go get 'em rocket. It's going to search for other people that are using that keyword and or listed very similarly, and it's going to give me information about them. So here's the book. I can scroll over it to see what do the covers look like. Do my covers match the expectations for that genre? What is the title? Whether it's ebook or regular book, who the author is, how long the book has been out, how many pages that book is, then if they have the keyword in the title or subtitle, the price of the book currently, this is how many sales it's getting per day on average, and this is how many sales it's getting per month on average. Surprise, your royalties are not private. You can look them up. And then you can even check it out here, or you can unleash the categories and see what categories are being linked besides that one. So if you find one really good category that you like, and then you decide you want to see what else is being done by competitors, you can pull it up here. Okay. You can also export your competition data or check them out directly on Amazon to take a look at their reviews and things yourself. Mostly I use this tool to help me figure out if I'm in the right category, if I'm using the right keywords. If none of my keywords are pulling up books like mine, then I'm worried mine are not going to pull up correctly in search, and I might change them. Then we have our Amazon ads section here. You can start ads projects directly in here. You can do this by entering an ASIN and then typing in keywords, because there are two sections for keywords. There are 7 keywords in the actual book metadata when you're setting it up to publish it. And then there are keywords for ads. They are separate things. I promise I will go over this in greater detail when we get to the keywords. Is the keywords when you set up your metadata, when you're prepping your book to publish, are keywords that readers use to search for your book specifically. What describes your book? Its themes, its characters, its genre, what makes it special and unique. Keywords on ads are things they're going to be searching for that you want your book to be suggested on that may not be necessarily your book by itself. So you can put other people's books there where you can't put the title of somebody else's books in your metadata, because if you said my book is a Harry Potter book and it's not, you're going to get dinged for that. But in an ad, you say, hey, if they like Harry Potter, they're going to love my book. Then you can have it as an ad keyword. So that's going to be in here. And this step-by-step process will walk you through how to generate your ads. Please enter 7 keywords and then some more books. So that is PublisherRocket in a nutshell. There are several free tutorials that you can watch if you are interested. If you have questions again, or if you've used this and you know uses for this that I have not gone into, I would love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear your questions before I record the keyword and category search videos for next week and the week after. So feel free to drop them in the comments. And even if you're watching the replay several months or years down the line, I'd love to hear your questions then as well. And if I know an answer, I will be happy to share it with you. But I highly recommend checking out PublisherRocket if you want a tool that's going to give you sales-based, transparent data to help you position your book to connect with readers, because that is what it's designed for, first and foremost. It is a one-time lifetime fee, I believe. At least that's what I paid for it, and it has more than paid for itself at this point in my journey. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share the word around. See you guys in the next one.